November 1944. The Hürtgen Forest, Germany. General Erich Brandenberger stands inside his command bunker as rain pounds against the roof. In a steady rhythm. To any other commander, this weather would be a disaster. The ground outside has turned into deep mud. Fog smothers the forest, reducing visibility to nothing. But Brandenberger does not see danger in the storm. He sees opportunity. He understands the Western Front better than most. The Americans dominate through air power. When skies are clear, their fighter bombers destroy anything that moves. Today, the sky is sealed beneath a heavy gray ceiling. American aircraft are stuck on the ground. Brandenberger senses an opening. He has only one elite formation left, a battalion of Valor, hardened paratroopers shaped by the brutality of the Eastern Front. Veterans who have survived battles that break ordinary soldiers. He believes the forest will shield them. He believes the dense pine growth will blunt American armor and firepower. The decision is made. He lifts the telephone and gives the order, attack. He is committing his best men to the woods to recapture the village of Vozenak. In his mind, this terrain favors skill, discipline, and courage. He believes this is a battlefield where human will still matters. He is wrong. Brandenberger is about to learn that the Americans have brought a machine into the forest that has no regard for bravery, a machine that solves forest warfare by destroying the forest itself. The order reaches the Valor along the German lines. These men are veterans. They move without sound, slipping through rain-soaked pines in camouflage smocks. Confidence surrounds them. They study the massive oak and pine trunks rising around them. Ancient trees nearly 3 feet thick. To an infantryman, wood is protection. Wood stops bullets. They advance with certainty, convinced that without air support, the Americans are blind to miles away. Sergeant Miller of the U.S. 28th Infantry Division is not watching the sky. His attention is fixed on a strange vehicle sunk into the mud. An M16 multiple gun motor carriage. Officially, it is an anti-aircraft weapon, built to track fast-moving planes thousands of feet above the battlefield. But today, Miller is using it in a way no manual describes. He lowers the 4 heavy barrels until they are perfectly level with the ground. As Brandenberger's men creep closer, American foxholes come into view. The Germans hold their fire, allowing the rain to hide their movement. The trap feels complete. They believe surprise belongs to them. At the American position, Miller climbs into the gunner's seat and flips a switch. A small gasoline generator sputters, then hums to life. This is not a hand-cranked weapon. The turret responds instantly, rotating with electric precision. Miller checks the ammunition chests. Steel boxes filled with .50 caliber rounds. A single round can punch through an engine block. With 4 guns linked together, Miller can send 40 rounds downrange every second. The Germans trust the trees. They believe the forest will protect them. They do not know Miller is feeding the weapon a deliberate mix of armor-piercing incendiary ammunition. These rounds do not stop in wood. They pass through it and ignite. Brandenberger has already sent his battalion into a slaughter zone, and he has yet to truly hear the machine awaken. 830 hours. The German attack begins. A signal flare bursts overhead. The Valor surge forward. MP-40s firing as the sound of gunshots collides with rain striking metal. For a brief moment, Brandenberger's gamble appears correct. American positions are suppressed. The forest erupts into chaos. German soldiers move from tree to tree, using cover with practiced precision. Then the M16 opens fire. The sound is violent and unfamiliar, like thick fabric being ripped apart. The front rank of German soldiers collapses instantly, not from single impacts, but from overwhelming force. Multiple rounds strike at once. The volume of fire creates a physical shock that throws men backward into the mud. Bodies are torn apart beyond recognition. Those behind freeze. They have never heard anything like it. Instinct drives them to dive for cover. They press themselves against massive pine trunks. Trees have always stopped rifle fire. Trees have saved lives. But the M16 is not aiming at the men. It is firing through the forest. Heavy .50 caliber rounds slam into the timber. What follows is terror. The trees do not merely splinter, they explode. Incendiary rounds ignite resin inside. The wood trunks burst apart, turning into clouds of lethal fragments. Long, jagged spears of wood tear through the air at extreme speed. Soldiers are impaled by the very cover they trusted. A man throws himself behind an oak for protection. The tree erupts into shards round him. He is shredded by the wood itself. Brandenburger's forest fortress becomes a fragmentation weapon. Back at headquarters, Brandenburger listens as panic floods the radio. Reports overlap. Units shout that incoming fire is everywhere. Men scream that the trees are exploding. His adjutant watches as the general's face tightens. Brandenburger is 62 years old, a veteran of two wars. He has survived Africa, Russia, and France, but he has never heard voices like these, not soldiers asking for orders, but men realizing their battalion is dying. These are no longer voices requesting orders. They are the voices of men realizing, second by second, that their unit is being destroyed. The radio goes silent for a moment. Then another transmission cuts through. The first sergeant is dead. The command section has been wiped out. Brandenburger's hand shakes as he reaches for the telephone. None of this makes sense to him. There are no tanks advancing, no aircraft overhead, only an invisible wall of sound, grinding his battalion down as if it were pencil marks being erased. He makes a choice that will follow him for the rest of his life. This is the general. He says calmly into the receiver, "Advance. You must push through. This cannot last. The Americans cannot maintain this level of fire. You will break through." He commits his second wave. These are younger men, soldiers fresh from training camps in Germany, men who have never fired a weapon in combat. Brandenburger doubles his gamble inside the bunker. Surrounded by darkness and concrete, he sits alone. 600 men have gone into the forest. 600 of his best. His thoughts replay the reports, the screaming voices, the way confidence on the radio dissolved into confusion, then desperation. He is a veteran of two world wars. He remembers the trenches of Verdun in 1916, where thousands died for meters of ground. He has witnessed artillery annihilate positions. He has watched tanks roll over defenses. He has seen what air power does to armies. But this is different. This is something he has never faced before. A weapon that creates daylight where none exists. A machine that fires faster than the human mind can count, ammunition that burns as it travels. The Americans have transformed killing into an industrial process. What once required judgment and courage has become production. Brandenburger reaches for the phone again. Every instinct tells him to order a withdrawal, to stop the losses, to admit failure. But he cannot. In the German army, retreat requires approval from Berlin, and Berlin will not grant it. Berlin believes in German superiority. Berlin believes willpower can defeat material strength, so Brandenburger remains seated, fully aware that his next order will annihilate what remains of his elite force. He understands this, and gives the order anyway, because the system demands obedience. Night falls over the Hürtgen Forest, absolute and lightless. The second wave is destroyed just as the first was. Another 300 men are gone. Now Brandenburger plays his final card. If firepower has stopped them during the day, then stealth must succeed at night. He orders the survivors, fewer than 200 men, to crawl forward. No gunfire, only knives and grenades. They move through shattered stumps and torn earth toward the American lines. They are unseen. They are no longer soldiers in formation, but shadows, ghosts. The Germans advance through total darkness. Steel helmets are removed and tied to belts. To silence movement, each man carries a knife and 2 grenades, nothing more. No rifles, no machine guns, just steel, explosives, and the hope of reaching the enemy before detection. The weather aids them. The rain has ended, but thick clouds still smother the stars. Darkness is complete. A man cannot see his own hand. They are less than 200 yards from the American foxholes when something changes. A sound emerges, not loud, but mechanical, a steady hum. Generators coming to life. The veterans recognize it instantly. Something is about to happen. Then, the night is torn open by light. On the American ridge, the M16 crews are ready. They have learned over the past hours. They know the Germans will try again. Darkness offers no protection. Night only delays the inevitable. The Americans have prepared one final surprise. Behind their lines, massive 60-inch searchlights, equipment designed to illuminate airfields, are rolled into position. Their beams shoot straight upward into the cloud cover. Artificial moonlight. The light strikes the clouds and scatters back down, washing the battlefield in an eerie, unnatural glow. It is not daylight, but it is enough to expose every shape, every movement. The forest floor is revealed. The Germans freeze, some drop flat, some attempt to retreat, others simply stand, stunned, for 3 seconds. The battlefield is silent. Americans and Germans alike understand what has happened. The ambush is gone. What remains is slaughter. A German sergeant breaks the spell. Forward. Grenades. Go, go, go. 200 men charge across a ruined wasteland, illuminated by artificial light, running toward a machine that does not miss. The ground glows amber beneath the searchlights. The infiltrators are fully exposed. Less than 100 yards from the American lines, they are caught in the open. Their shadows stretch across the snow like black fingers, pointing them out to every gunner. There is no cover. The trees are gone, destroyed by the morning's fire. Only stumps remain, barely 4 feet high. No man can disappear below the line of sight. It becomes a shooting gallery, and they are the only targets. The M16 gunners squeeze their triggers. Incendiary rounds ignite once more. Red tracers slash through the night. Fire falls again. But now there is nowhere to hide. The beams look like solid lines, cutting through the darkness. The Germans try to run, but the mud denies them speed. Boots sink. Bodies slow. Men become targets. This is the moment Brandenburger's elite battalion ceases to exist. Caught beneath false moonlight. Exposed in a forest that has been flattened. Facing a weapon that never overheats and never tires. Men who were soldiers an hour earlier are reduced to shapes on a glowing battlefield, erased by industrial fire. A German officer would later write, "It was as if the sun rose at midnight, and the devil turned the handle. We did not fight, we simply died." The firing continues for 20 minutes. Sergeant Miller remains seated in the M16's bucket seat, drenched in sweat. The barrels glow a dull red from heat. A crewman pours water over them constantly, steam hissing into the cold air. Miller does not aim at individuals. There is no reason to. He sweeps the gun back and forth across the broken landscape. Anything that moves vanishes. When silence finally returns, nothing stirs in the valley. No wounded crawl, no soldiers retreat. Only stillness, and the smell of burnt wood mixed with burned flesh. Somewhere underground, Brandenburger hears the silence on the radio. He understands immediately. The battalion he sent into the forest 3 hours earlier has not withdrawn. It has not surrendered. It has ceased to exist. He lowers the telephone. His hand is steady. His mind is not at dawn. When the fighting ends, Brandenburger walks through the wreckage of his command. Bodies lie everywhere, hundreds of them. The soldiers lie frozen in the mud, faces upturned to the gray sky. Brandenburger walks among them, eyes scanning the wreckage. In the pocket of a fallen major, he finds a half-finished letter addressed to a wife named Margaret. The words trail off. "My dearest, I am about to go into battle. I believe we will win because I believe in the German soldier." The rest is blank. Brandenburger folds the letter carefully and replaces it. He vows it will reach Margaret. She will learn that her husband died believing in a cause that no longer exists. He climbs a ridge to survey the shattered forest. An American officer approaches under a flag of truce. They are here to negotiate the retrieval of the wounded and the dead. The officer, a captain in his early 30s, regards Brandenburger with something close to pity. "Your men fought hard," he says haltingly in broken German. Brandenburger nods. "Yes, they fought hard. But you sent them into a machine." He pauses. "I sent them into a machine. I thought courage would matter. I thought the forest would matter. I thought experience would matter. I was wrong." The captain remains silent, listening. Brandenburger continues, quietly but firmly. Germany now understands what it faces, not armies, not generals, but systems, industrial systems, a nation capable of producing its own light, a nation that can turn wood into shrapnel, a nation that has transformed war from an art into mathematics. The captain says nothing. Your country has already won. Brandenburger adds, we do not yet see it in Berlin, but we will. You have triumphed not with soldiers, but by constructing a system in which courage is merely a variable. The forest is gone. For hundreds of yards, ancient pines have been reduced to waist-high stumps, as if a giant scythe had passed over the earth. The green hell that was supposed to shield his men became their executioner. Every stump marks a grave. One lone helmet, half filled with blood, lies in the mud dot standing amid the dead forest. Brandenburger finally grasps the truth. He fought a 19th century battle with courage and terrain, only to confront a 20th century machine that converted industrial output into death. The M16 meat chopper did more than win a skirmish. It proved a fundamental truth about modern warfare. In the industrial age, there is no cover, only target acquisition. Nations that can manufacture sufficient ammunition, generate artificial moonlight, and design systems to reduce soldiers to statistics render courage irrelevant. What Brandenburger did not know was that Berlin had already received the warning. In July 1943, a young German colonel had filed a classified report on new American armor-piercing incendiary rounds. He warned that concentrated fire could penetrate any natural cover. The High Command dismissed it. They still clung to the myth of the superior soldier, the genius of German tactics. Brandenburger shattered that myth in a single night. The Hürtgen Forest would continue to claim lives for months. 33,000 American soldiers would be killed or wounded capturing a forest that offered no strategic value. German forces would eventually retreat, not because they were defeated, but because the war had already been lost. Yet the lesson Brandenburger learned in one night would echo through military history. After the war, American strategists would study Hürtgen, understanding how a single M16 quad mount, supported by artificial moonlight and incendiary ammunition, could stop an entire elite battalion. The principle endured. Modern warfare is won by systems, coordination, and industrial capacity, not individual valor. Brandenburger survived the war, passing away in 1952, haunted by the memory of that night when artificial light turned his battalion into statistics. Yet his final message to the American captain was true. You have not defeated us with better soldiers. You have defeated us by building a system in which courage is accounted for. In industrialized war, courage becomes irrelevant. The nation that grasps this first wins. America understood. Germany did not, and that understanding determined the outcome of World War II. If the story of General Erich Brandenburger and the Hürtgen Forest captivated you, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more untold World War II stories.